Hi people, good afternoon. My name is Barrister Evans Ufeli. So today we are looking together at the RUGA settlement project that has just been maybe by way of breaking news, state governments began to issue releases after in saying no. Have introduced him, Barrister Evans, to people to
Yeah,
start with.
thank you. Hello, Nigerians. Good afternoon or good evening from wherever location you are, or good morning also, because I know there are people who are also.
And also good midnight in case you are sleeping and you wake up. So uh, Barrister, when you first heard the idea of the project initiation, what was your position in terms of the legality of such projects, and why do you think it failed?
You see, when the federal government mooted the idea for the first time, I knew that it was going to fail. It was going to fail in the sense that if you look at the Land Use Act, okay, the Land Use Act in Section 1, Subsection 1, have given powers to the state government to hold land in trust for the people of that state. Okay, and then it went ahead to also give the governors powers to also take over land for overriding public interest. The farmers' herders crisis became to want the state government to give land to the herdsmen so that they can have what they call ranches in the respective states. You understand? So I think the federal government came
The thing
to people and all that. And if you look at the cattle rearing, it's a private business. It's a private business that requires private investment. Because if the federal government wants to do that, it means that the federal government should empower the entire citizens of this country. Because if they have the mind and intention to empower these people, it means that the empowerment should be for all Nigerians and not just this. And if you look at the mischief they are trying to cure, that is the farmer headers clashes. The RUGA proposal is a proposal that is thoughtless. It is not well thought out because it's going to create more problem. Because when these people settle in all the states, and then you know that these are people who also have this expansionist theory, expansionist mentality. People begin to claim rights over places they have settled for so long. Remember, when they settle, they are going to start to raise children in those settlements. And those children are going to only know that settlement. And then in future, you are going to create a problem at the end of the day. So is it not better for you to create an irrigation system in the north? We know of Israel, we know of countries like Sudan where they have total drought. But they rear cattle in these places because they use irrigation to tackle deforestation and then rejuvenate areas that have been, taken away by desert. And then you have cattle there that if you see some of the cattle there, they look like elephants. It's just because they have a strategy that is workable that will allow for peaceful coexistence. By the time you allow these people to go all over the place, it is going to create a problem for Nigeria in future.
Okay, let's try to educate ourselves a bit. Ranching versus settlement. What are the differences between ranching and settlement for the purpose of education?
Well, if you look at the question of ranching and then settlement, they are not very different. Even though the federal government is saying they are different, both of them require the state giving out land for the purpose. Whether it's ranching, where you want to have all the cattle caged in a particular place, and then it requires giving. The RUGA settlement requires land. Okay, so whichever way you look at it, people are saying that it have a tendency to create problem in future, because there is no real difference really about when you look at it critically. There's no real difference, and then the fear is that when the headers spread across every other state and they are now in all the states of the federation, habiting and cohabiting, and then and then raising this cattle and raising families and all that, it will have it will come to a point where we are still going to have a backlash. If not farmer headers, it's going to be either tribal, it's going to be either religious, It's either do you understand? And then we know that you already have this problem of issue of tribal clashes in Nigeria, religious differences that creates problem and all that. So it will be better that people that want to do business of that nature, it's better they situate it in their own location, okay? Provide for themselves. Federal government can even help them to irrigate their own land and grow grasses there for grazing, okay, or for even ranching. Do you understand? It's better they settle where they are than to allow them to get across the entire country, and then it will begin to create problem for society. It's not safe.
Okay. Now, one of the reasons the RUGA idea was said to have been initiated in the first place was to resolve the issue of clashes. All right. Now that the RUGA project has been suspended, what other ideas can replace this?
I just stated one, that why are we having the clashes? Because they are moving away from the core north and then coming to the north central and now to the south.
If they had enough grasses to graze,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
they would not have needed to be coming here.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that it's because of the deforestation, okay, and then the desert, and then the Lake Chad that also been taken away by, and all that. So they are moving closer. I'm saying that that's not that there are countries in Africa, Israel, Sudan, and some of this Mali and all that have the same problem, but there is an irrigation system they use to grow to grow vegetations and to grow grass. So one of the strategies that the federal government can initiate a policy or a scheme there to bring experts and irrigate those areas that have been taken away by desert and all that, and then rejuvenate that area. They have even a larger landmarks, okay, for them. That is one way to address the issue. Then another way to address the issue is in the south here, people can be encouraged to start ranching businesses, okay, but not to be owned or not to be a subject of settlement. The Hausas, the Fulanis or the headers who wants to bring their cattle to graze in those ranches can have special agreement or joint venture agreement with those who own the ranches in the south. And then they can bring it there with terms and conditions. And these are solutions. They can graze there, they pay the owners of the ranches, and then use the facilities and then say they can make profit and do business. But when you overlook that and you want them to come and settle, what will be the consequences of those?
Federal government already had, before they came out at all to announce it, they already had plan, intention, everything ready, including the fund. All right. Now that they have suspended it, do you advise that they now give the fund to sponsor the second idea you brought now? Like give local potentates who are residents in their respective places or regions to ranch.
I mean, to give it to the...
Yes, give it to people in the south, people in the east to ranch at their own regions.
Well, you see, this is a private business. Federal government have
not have it. I just want to know.
Business giving money. Our educational system has collapsed. There is no there's no electricity in Nigeria. There's no power supply. There's no public healthcare system. The economy of this country has broken down irretrievable mortality rate to reduce sector. Okay, there's educational deficit in Nigeria because when you look at the level of insurgency, it's almost outgrowing our armed forces. And federal governments keep sending troops. They have not been able to look at the root of the problem, which is a deficit in education, unemployment, and then issues of thuggery, brigandages, and systems are collapsing. These monies can be used for the purposes, strategic purposes.
Settlement may be problematic, and then the fund should not come from the federal government but private business owners. Aside from those two major points, more people on the streets who were actually against this were for personal emotional reasons.